So, I have a confession to make. I did not care for the X-Men growing up. I never even watched the original trilogy, and I know it makes me a bad Marvel fanboy, but I just neglected to go back and watch it. To me, the X-Men weren't lame, but they seemed to never have a shake-up in terms of progression, and were always the outcast trying to fit in with human society, with a roster of like 3 villains anyone cares about. I didn't hate them though. I really enjoy Wolverine, and Deadpool is one of my favorite comic book characters. Plus, the majority of my knowledge of the X-Men came from watching the movies. I've watched every other movie after the trilogy except for New Mutants and Dark Phoenix, which I will not be watching for my own sanity. It was never a personal thing for the mutants. I just couldn't get past the fact that it seemed to be very stagnant and have a confusing history. Of course, I never actually dived into these books to see the stuff that was going on, so that was an outsider's perception. So, naturally, when Jonathan Hickman came along with his ideas that would shake the Marvel Universe to its core, again, I was intrigued, but I decided to pay it no mind because I didn't want to seem like a bandwagon that was hopping on for the new status quo. Tenosaurus looked cool from the outside looking in, and I thought about catching up to read it, but it wasn't really until the Hellfire Gala when I started picking up these books and jumping on the bandwagon anyway. Cause I mean, yeah, I have absolutely no idea what these characters have gone through, but I assumed there would be enough exposition for new people like me, and if it didn't, then Marvel Wiki would be my best friend. The gala looked like a really neat idea that I had never really seen done before, and I wanted to be part of the secrets and reveals that would be happening there. So I spent about a month diving into these mini-series published for this new era, and I have concluded that I was absolutely right. X-Men history is extremely messy. Why the hell are there so many clones? The Stepford Cuckoos are confusing enough, but then you gotta think about Scout, who is a clone of a clone. How does Strife even work? Why is Charles not in a wheelchair? Are the New Mutants 16 or 25? I swear I can't tell. And since when is Jean banging both Wolverine and Cyclops? So many important issues in these books. But I was also right when I said it didn't matter. Sure, you can easily get caught up on the history that you don't know, but if you kind of treat it like it's a new story, it works like one. And if you really want to know, you can Google everything. I had no idea who Rachel Summers was, and I still don't know because I skimmed through that wiki page, but she's a joy to read. Taking at face value, there's a lot to like about the Krakoan line of books. I don't know how connected the X-Books have been before, but having this new central island makes it feel like a new level of interconnectivity. Each story plays its part in expanding the lore of Krakoa and explores the different aspects that you would wonder about when making a new nation and building a culture, such as the government, or the business side, or the imports and exports, or the security force. There are so many avenues to go down that it's hard to not at least enjoy one of them. And on top of that, most of the series feel necessary for the world building being done on Krakoa. My favorite thing about the Hickman era is that these books are obviously written by people who care about the characters. Every mutant has something distinct about their personalities besides their powers, and they're consistent across the board. Xavier is gentle and soft-spoken, but it doesn't mean that he can't be intimidating. Magneto's bravado is on display every time he talks to humans, and it makes for some of the best dialogue in the series. Cyclops is calm but assertive. Sinister is a one, sometimes two-man comedy act. Jean is sweet but takes no BS. Emma seems sneaky and manipulative, but she actually cares a lot about her fellow mutants. And Wolverine is simply the best at what he does. Plus, they all have different ideas on the culture of Krakoa and the path that the nation is taking, and it just serves to make the island and the community feel real. Even when they disagree, they are all looking for the best thing for mutantdom, and I think that's great to read. As for the books themselves, I had some that I liked a lot and some that I didn't care for very much, and I'm just gonna run through all of them really quick. X Factor to me felt like your regularly scheduled TV drama. There were your typical cliffhangers, the romance, the quirks, the individual plot lines, and of course the deep-seated mystery. The art by David Baldeón also made the characters seem more cartoonish, like something straight out of like Cartoon Network or something. I enjoyed that aspect of it. The characters were well-rounded with distinct personalities that led for some interesting matchups, like Eye-Boy and Prodigy. The mystery was pretty good, and even though I didn't know who the Morgan was, I really didn't have to enjoy the storyline the way it was handled. It was really just a lot of fun, and it sucks that it was so short-lived. I wish it had ended a bit better too, because it was kind of a letdown with the reveal of who killed Prodigy. It kind of came out of nowhere and felt rushed at the end. Also, I wanted to continue on with Daken and Aurora. I thought they were a pretty cute couple. I'm excited to see them come back in the trial of Magneto because I just love the energy of the team as a whole, and with Leah Williams back writing the book, I'm sure it'll be the same kind of feeling. I wasn't really on board for Excalibur when it first started because I'm not big on the mystic side of Marvel, but it was certainly a worthwhile read. Sometimes it gets hard to follow the story when it comes to how the magic works. I never understand that kind of stuff. This is mostly true when Mariana Stern is talking because I have no idea what she'd be talking about. It feels like an underdog story because the moment that Betsy becomes Captain Britain, everyone's hating her, nobody likes her, not even Saturday Night likes her, and it's hard not to root for her to get the respect that she deserves. I don't really get the Coven Akaba and how they work, but they work fine as villains. They haven't really done much besides sully Betsy's name when she was presumed dead. I also love the world building that Otherworld has with the different regions, especially the land where realities go to die. That was very interesting from a visual standpoint, and I wonder if we ever go back there. I also love that writing for Saturnine. It's not every day that you have an omnipotent being that's written well without leaving the question of why didn't they just solve the problem themselves? She's so petty and self-indulgent that you can easily see why not. Beast is an absolute mad lad in this book, and I have no idea if he was always this calculated and condescending, but it's absolutely hilarious. He's been slapped and cussed out so many times that he definitely deserves it. The art makes the whole story feel grimy and dark, and I like how it sets the atmosphere for the mutant CIA. I like Kid Omega and his arc throughout the book and learning to trust in himself because he talks a big game about mutants being gods and boasts about being an Omega, but he has a lot of insecurities that only Sophie can break down for him. I don't like vampires. I've never cared for anything undead, so I don't really mess with the storyline very much, but I do like Wolverine and his interaction with everybody, especially the police guy he talks to. I do like the idea of Wolverine being like their own personal 007, going out and dealing with problems as a loner that nobody has any idea about. They even put him in a suit, James Bond style. I actually did my research on Strife before getting into these books, so I have some itty bitty knowledge about him and what he's about. X-Men writers just really love clones for some reason. The Stepford Cuckoos are as confusing as it is, and I don't even know how that became a thing. I didn't even read that page. Besides that, I actually like the consistent Cable writing across the board despite how forced it may seem. Like every time he does something wrong, he doubts himself, like in Ten of Swords when he loses, or when King in Black when he gets taken over by No, he starts doubting himself and saying that he can't do what he has to do. It really just feels like there was an overarching storyline for him, but in the end, it kind of just serves the purpose of bringing the original Cable back because he doesn't feel like he can do it, so he has to bring back his older version. So I don't know, maybe it's a little bit cheap, but I kind of like it. I really didn't realize how old the New Mutants were supposed to be until Magic started asking folks if they wanted to have sex, and Wolfsbane had a kid, and Cypher got married. Like, how old are these people? They look 16 on the page, I swear they do. I've always liked Sunspot. He's such a fun character and the right amount of annoying that makes every scene with him hilarious. Especially the scene that he tries to talk to Deathbird, that was so hilarious. I personally don't really like the art in this book, mainly because it makes people's faces look weird, but I can see how it can be useful in expressing the nature of people's abilities, like Cosmar. I don't know a thing about Shadow King, but he's creepy as hell, and I need him to stop talking to children and get him some friends his own age. If he really did kill Scout, we're gonna have a problem. I just met her, but I would protect her with my life. Stop playing with her. Hickman's X-Men never seem to have a central direction besides chronicling what the main mutants of Krakoa were doing, but I like the few nuggets that were produced here and there. I adore issue number 4 for just showing how much of a mutant these guys are now. Xavier doesn't even stop Magneto from absolutely stomping on the rest of the world leaders, and puts the fear of God into them, which is appropriate because according to Magneto, they are gods. I love how he says, "We will beat the crap out of y'all," so politically correct. The Crucible is an interesting idea that I didn't really think about when Krakoa was introduced. I knew about the House of M event, but I guess I just assumed that people had gotten their powers back by now. Do I like the idea of them killing each other in an arena? No, but I guess it serves the purpose of an honorary death. Though I would just take a bullet in the head and be on my way. X-Men number 19 has to be my favorite single issue out of all these X books so far. Not only does it do well to explain what the Children of the Vault are about and detail the experience of centuries without crushing everything in, it also manages to be one of the most heartfelt stories I've ever read. Did I know where the story was going halfway through? Yeah, but it didn't take away from the heartbreaking journey that it was. Imagine spending like 500 years with somebody and they don't even remember it. Despite not knowing Sting existed before this series, I couldn't help but empathizing with the guy. And his monologue throughout really served a gut punch at the end. This panel right here really solidifies the whole story in my heart. The new X-Men story has started off with a bang and it's already becoming the best of the X-Men lineup. So I'm just excited to see where this intergalactic game is going, especially since the High Evolutionary is involved somehow. Plus they put Synch and Wolverine on the same team and I just need that to happen somehow. Somehow, please. It just started, but I don't really care for X-Corp at all, mostly because I don't get most of the business talk that they use anyway. I do like Monet because she's pretty cool. Also, I didn't know how Angel's transformation works, so I was very confused when I saw Angel in X-Men, and then I saw Archangel in Ten of Swords, but it makes sense. I do like Angel more when he's angry though. I don't know if I really care for the Way of X and the mutant religion, but I do like Nightcrawler and Legion and their constant back and forth, and I'm interested to see what kind of threat Onslaught poses this time around. Yes, I know a little bit about Onslaught. I'm not that out of the loop. I know a little bit, don't do that. I don't really have much to say about Sword. I do love the artwork being done by Nico Leone. I don't know most of the mutants on the station, but I do enjoy the different personalities bouncing off of each other, especially Abigail Brand. I was actually interested in what Fabian Cortez had to say until he said it, and then I couldn't do anything but laugh about it. I'm interested to see where Al Ewing is going to take the Marvel Cosmic, and I definitely need to catch up on Guardians of the Galaxy to be part of it. I've just come off reading the damn Abnett and Andy Landing area and I loved it, so I'm really psyched to see what they have planned down the line. Also, Storm as the Queen of Mars is brilliant. Thank you, Marvel. Thank you. My favorite X series. I love Kate Pryde. I think she's a lot of fun. She's witty, she's slick, and she's kind of badass in some moments. This book made me absolutely despise Sebastian Stein as a human being because of what he did to my wife. Storm is great here. I had no idea her and Kate were so close friends, but it actually really works. And I enjoyed the Emma and Kate duo a lot, especially when they were putting the hurt on Shaw. I just liked Jerry Duggan's dialogue throughout the book. I don't get the point of this book in the grand scheme of Krakoa, but it's a fine story. I do enjoy the characterization that we get each issue because it does well to point out the strengths and insecurities in a short time and have the reader really get to know them. I guess it's like the mutant Teen Titans, but they're not even mutants, so that doesn't even work. The Mutant Suicide Squad is actually pretty hilarious despite how weird some of it is. The Nanny and Orphan Maker thing always puts me off, but Sinister is so entertaining that I mostly forget about it. I had no idea who these characters were going in, but I'm starting to like them slowly, like Grey Crow. I like him a lot. I'm very hooked on Mr. Sinister's schemes just because of how unintentionally funny he is when he does them. Also, I did know who Havoc was because of the rise and fall of Shi'ar Empire. I like that comic a lot, but I had no idea where this dark side of him came from, and I really need to look it up because it's very creepy. I don't have much to say about Fallen Angels except for the fact that I'm glad it was a short, contained story. It helped boost Salah's character into the most likable list of mutants on Krakoa. I felt like the ending was a bit anticlimactic, but I enjoyed the story for what it was. The events for these books so far aren't too shabby either. I'm a big time anime fan, so when I started reading Ten of Swords, I was really hyped for an event that drew from the tournament arcs and countless shonen titles. Did it live up to that hype? Absolutely not, but it definitely lived up to the hype of being a great event. Why have a fight to the death when you can have rounds and rounds of ridiculous challenges scored by a very desperate and very powerful woman like Saturnine? It's a really great mixture of great character moments and hilarious interactions with your standard battle scene at the end for good measure. The art is great, the story is just dumb fun, and it might just possibly be the best event this side of Secret Wars in 2015. The Hellfire Gala isn't bad either, despite how disappointing it might have been. I still love the idea of having all these big names in the Marvel Universe come together and hang out, and the costume designs were a delight to witness and really thought out for each mutant that attended. Unfortunately, I was already spoiled on the Mars development, and while that's awesome in its own right, nothing else really happens in the gala itself. Besides, of course, the Scarlet Witch dying. The stuff going on in each series is continuing the storyline set before, so none of them are essential, but it made the night feel less coherent when certain things didn't come up in other books. Nevertheless, I enjoyed it for what it was, and it has only made me hungry for all the juicy secrets that will be spilled in the upcoming Inferno events. And that's really all I wanted to say. I just wanted to share that I am officially a mutant now and I'm heading to Krakoa soon. Also, a few more things. My favorite characters are Kate Pryde, Synch, Magneto, and maybe Emma Frost, with an honorary mention to Prodigy and Mr. Sinister. My wife is Storm, and/or Jean Grey, and/or Kate Pryde. Monet is great too, but she's a little bit too chaotic for me. I can't handle that. Manifold is hands down the most badass character in all of the X books. I don't even know if that's a controversial statement. And Magic can stomp on me with both feet. I have like two theories for the upcoming books. One is that Mystique killed the Scarlet Witch, which isn't the farthest reach. And the second is that
Moira is going to die one more time, and everything that is happening in the Hitman era is going to exist in the alternate timeline. The code will be like a fever dream to every X-Men fan out there, and there's nothing you can do about it, but cry and hope that the editors at Marvel find it in their hearts to reverse such a cool act. They will laugh in your face and tell you to suck it.
But that probably won't actually happen. I hope this inspires anyone who hasn't started reading up on this amazing new concept to go and catch up while the hype is real. I'll probably start making videos about it as the story progresses, so if you want to see those, go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you back here soon.